And we're back, and our guests on this segment are Tad Jones and Crystal Campbell, and they're from the Will Rogers Center just across the street here in Claremore. The subject is the Will Rogers Birthday Bash. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Good to have you first. I'm going to get to you in a minute, but I'm going to start with Tad down on the end.
Go right ahead.
Because he pouts if I don't.
I know. It's terrible.
Just let me do this.
Let me have my shot.
How are you?
Doing great. Glad to be back.
What's going on with the Big Bash?
Well, we've got a lot of activities going on this year. It should be a lot of fun. You know, this is Will Rogers' 100th anniversary of his first movie, which was Laughing Bill Hyde in 1918. So we're going to be celebrating that. So for our birthday bash activities, we just have a lot of stuff going on. We brought in Michael Wallace. He's the voice of the sheriff in the movie Cars. And Kyle Dillingham's going to be here. We do a kids' day right there. That's Doug Anderson. He'll be doing rope tricks for the kids. And so we have a lot of schools that come in. And we'll have storytelling and all kinds of stuff. And then at noon on Friday, Gray Fredrickson, who was the producer of The Godfather Part 2, is going to be in town to do a lecture at the Will Rogers Memorial. So that'll be for about an hour. Then the parade's going to be at 3 o'clock on Friday. We've got the DC Marvel League coming in all dressed up. We're going to have, hopefully, Darth Vader will make an appearance, one of my personal favorites, him and the Jedi. And then we're going to have the real Ghostbusters will be in the parade. So we're encouraging the town to dress up in their favorite movie characters in order to celebrate Will Rogers' 100th anniversary of his very first movie.
I want to come back to that in just a minute. Crystal, you have a connection to the museum a little closer than anybody else in the room, because not the museum, the auditorium. Aren't you guys involved in a fundraising effort right now?
We are. I sit on the Will Rogers Museum Foundation, and this year our focus is on the theater. We want to take a little bit of tender love and care and renovate the theater. The seats, as you can see there, it was established in 1982. Correct me if my information is wrong there, Ted. It's 82. Nothing has really been done. We've a few little updates to sound and some of the equipment, but it's time for some TLC. So this year at our event on November 1st, we're going to be raising funds to kind of give it some love and update it. Brand new seats. You can actually purchase a seat there and have a little plaque, and it's a commemorative item that will kind of last, and lots of fun events for that particular night. We're encouraging people to dress up that night of a different flair. So wear your fancy duds, pretty dresses, wear a tuxedo, fancy tie.
No baseball caps.
No baseball caps, unless, I guess you can bling it out and wear it that night if you want to. We don't care. Buy a ticket, come out, have fun. We'll see vaudeville entertainment that night. A few of the individuals that Tad discussed will be in attendance that night. We'll have tons of fun. We'll be celebrating Jim Hartz that night. We'll be naming the stage after him in honor of him. And so it's just a great evening of fun, tons of food. Just a lot of fun. But again, the whole idea of the evening is to celebrate Will Rogers, the memory, continue the legacy, but as well create some fundraising opportunities to renovate that theater so that we can educate people in a better way, a better platform.
Makes total sense to me. What's the targeted goal?
We would like to hit around $150,000. We're trying our best. We're being good stewards of our money. We've gotten some different things donated. We're trying to watch our cost on the seats and on the screen. We've gotten the screen donated right now. Really neat screen coming our way. But we have. Paint costs a lot. It's not like it used to be.
No.
You have to have some special, I don't know what they're putting in it these days, but it is expensive. Flooring has to be redone. There's just some things that's going to be costly, and technology's not cheap, so we're trying to go for that $150,000 at this point.
And Dad, you already know about this, but there have been times I've walked through the building late in the evening when the light changes and the statues look different and the saddles take on a different hue, and folks are leaving and I'm going into empty rooms and I catch movement, not really, but you know what I mean. The museum takes on a different feel. I've gone into the auditorium and I thought, well, at the time, this is good. you walk in here, it's a place where folks can learn more, see more, obviously through the motion pictures. But there's just something about the place that's so special. And I cannot imagine anybody not wanting to be involved in helping you toward the goal.
Well, the thing is about Will Rogers is he's such a multifaceted individual, and I think a lot of times we forget just exactly how large of an individual he really was and still continues to be. That legacy is a part of who we are in Claremore, but he grows. Is kind of like his family tree is a lot larger than just his actual family. His roots grow so much larger than that, and he's such an inspiration in who he is, in his words, his body of work. He was really the first blogger. His ability to communicate transcends decades. I mean, it's amazing who he was, and I think that's the goal of the foundation. We want people to not only remember who he was, but to really capture that energy, and I think really to expand on that and really kind of create more people that embody that ideology of who he was.
Let me go around in a circle to get where I'm going to stop and talk about it. Minnie Pearl, Grand Ole Opry fame, was incredibly intelligent. Degree from a really high-class college. She had an act that people bought into because they wanted to. Will came from the people. I mean, he made the transition. He could spell if he wanted to. He could do a lot of things if he wanted to. He chose to approach life from this end, and it served him well. It served the people of Oklahoma well and the nation. That's why I'm strongly suspect when I hear people say, well, I don't know much about him. Because I think they do. And I think all they have to do is watch television just a little bit, and without him even being mentioned, they can see what he was all about. Because it's still there. It's still very much a part of our culture, the Will Rogers effect.
And we throw Will Rogers quotes out all the time on Facebook or Twitter.
Sure.
And people, they're so timely today as they were, 85, 90 years ago. So people talk about the craziness of politics, and we'll throw a Will Rogers quote out there, and that could have been said, yesterday about what was going on in the Supreme Court or whatever it is. And so all that's very timely. And the great thing about this theater is literally every visitor from around the world that comes to Memorial goes in the theater to learn about Will Rogers. Every school group, and we've had a ton this week come through, goes in the theater and learns about Will Rogers. And we just need to update that with better sound. We're going to get a nice big screen in there to show movies. We're going to show a movie tomorrow night. We show movies through the evening. It's been great.
Dad, you guys have a lot of foreign visitors as well, don't you?
We do. And they do a lot of homework on Will Rogers by the time they get there. They know a lot more than we'd ever think of people from even the United States that know about Will Rogers. They just do their homework about him and are amazed.
I never had a chance to thank you, and I want to do this now. You were responsible for helping us get Coke on when she came to visit. And I don't recall her age, but she lived a long and fruitful life and provided so much insight into Will and the family. Mm-hmm. Like she was a walking book, when she came to visit, and I thank you for that.
Oh, she was so terrific. Sharp and told you so many great stories about Will.
If folks out there want to just write you a check,
We'll take it.
Yeah. Where do they send it?
The best way is contact Tad at the museum, or all the information can be found at willrogers.com. And that's probably the best way to get all the information, just willrogers.com.
And it'll go right to.
And it will find him.
Any denomination. Back when they were working on fundraising for the memorial in Oklahoma City, children came with pennies, and they made a walkway of pennies. It's amazing when you touch somebody's heart, as in this case, you're going to touch someone's heart. When they come to visit and come up the Mother Road and visit with the son of the Mother Road, Michael Wallace, mm-hmm. and here they are, with a voice from the road, Will Rogers. God, you're talking serious history. Yeah. Hey, good luck on the fundraiser.
Thank you. It should be a ton of fun. I encourage anybody that's just wanting to get out for the evening, just come and join us, and I guarantee you we're going to have some fun. If not, your belly will be full by the time you leave.
Whoa, we're out of time. Thank you both. Before we close, I want to let you know about a special play that's going to be at the Tulsa PAC during the next couple of weeks, starting tomorrow night. Sovereignty is a play by Cherokee Nation playwright Mary Catherine Nagel. And you got to see this. The play addresses the struggle from the 1830s Cherokee Nation up through now present-day Georgia, through Andrew Jackson's Oval Office to the Cherokee Nation in present-day Oklahoma. For more information, you can visit the TulsaPAC.com site, and they can just fill you in. It just make you crazy how much information's there. That's all the time we have for this edition of Perspectives. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.